my name is Teresa Pearson. I'm an instructor here at Sunstate Academy, and we have something called advanced perms. And what I'm going to show you today is my idea of an advanced perm wrap. A lot of times in introduction, you learn how to use a double flat wrap. Today we're going to go over how to bookend. If you are going to be going into a franchise, chances are that the customer that you're going to get for perm will start off with hair like this. Okay, it's not going to be as long as you might hope for or you might have practiced with. So my idea is to show you that this head of hair can get perm too. In Florida, they have a lot of the elderly ladies who wear their hair in what they call like a parachute perm. And what it really is just a partial perm. And you can understand that you would not use two pieces of paper on a hair that is this length. So when you go to a franchise, if you're trying to work at a franchise, they're going to expect that you know how to do a bookend perm. Just like any other perm, the size of the rod is going to determine the size of the curl. So you can see the hair is short already. So I'm going to just use the bridge of the nose to come up and to regulate my perm size, rod size. So what I'm going to do is part it the way I'm going to wrap it. Okay, because the hair is shorter, so you really can't put clips in it or you would look goofy. And you don't want to look goofy at your first perm. Right? So here I am where I'm coming through the middle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two forward because sometimes you can prevent breakage. So if the hair is very short, you are going to be sure that you use tension when you have it. A bookend is when you take a piece of paper and you wrap it like so. So you can see I have all of the hair gathered in the paper. The paper's use is to make sure the ends are protected, and you can see that I have the paper covering the ends. So when I come in like this, the next thing that I have to do is when I do section, I want to make sure that I don't have it all the way to the end on either side so that it doesn't get too big. So when I pull it out like this, the hair is encompassed in the paper and in the rod, and this is nice and tight. Okay, so one goes in, two forward. So you can see again how I have tension. I have the hair in between my fingers. I come in and encapsulate it in my paper. Use my perm rod to make sure that the hair is before the paper. So I have the paper, hold it in, and there's another rod. So I have, this is forward so that I don't have any breakage going backwards. Then I would turn her around and start going backwards. A lot of people don't understand that short hair needs to be permed too. So a lot of the times the perms that you can get will be these little pink rods, little blue rods, whatever it is. You want to be able to service any guest that comes in, so knowing how to use these end wraps is something that's going to help you in the long run. So you see, the end paper has the hair encapsulated, and I wrap it in. Okay. What I like to do also is to make sure that my guide is right in there. So as soon as I pick up this piece of hair, the first thing I do is put my guide back. So I'm from Queens, so what I tell people is that I'm doing a train track right through the middle, and then I will supplement the sides by putting one or two just for a blend. So this way you won't be nervous if you get a blue rod perm as your first customer, because that was my first customer many moons ago. So you can see all in all this wrap doesn't take a lot of time, but it costs just as much money as if the lady was having a full head done. The other thing that I would like to tell you about a perm like this is not made for it to be quick and easy, curly. This is how she wears her hair. Usually the elderly ladies get their hair permed so that their set will stay. So we're not in here trying to make a perfect style for today. We're setting her up for the next 3 months that she'll be able to get roller sets, and they'll be able to stay in for a week, sorry. So So just for our purposes today, I'm just going to put in this one and show you how to do the side. But you can see how easy it is, and this is a chemical service that you are going to get paid more money for. So you should be the person in your salon that loves to do perms, because they are a chemical service and it makes you more money, no offense, than if you were going to do haircuts all night long. Also, the advantage to doing these perms is the clientele that you get. If you do the clientele where you're doing permanent waves, then you're going to have sets show up on Thursday and Wednesday afternoon. So they call them bread and butter, so that you get this guest every week instead of just once a month. I rolled a lot of perms in my day. I'm from Newport Richey, Florida, and I was there in the 90s. We basically used to give away these perms just so that we could build up our clientele. So now you're able to charge a nice amount of money for them, so there's no reason why you would not do perms. If you're a person who hates perms, you just saw me make $50. There's no reason why you can't do that too. The other thing that I could tell you about a perm is that it's the same procedure every time, okay? So you see how I'm doing the mechanical part, which is the wrapping, and then the chemical part is the same procedure every time. So you apply it. The variation is how long you leave the solution on. So the solution that you pick is pertaining to the condition or texture of her hair. So if her hair is healthy, then you would pick a stronger perm. If her hair was color treated, then you would use a gentler perm. On something like this for the side, you have your own choice whether you would like to do one row and then the other row, or if you would like to brick layer. You can go back and forth to make sure that you are going to get every hair in. Usually the transition roller is a little thin one so that you can get your rows set up. And you could look at that hair and think that it would not be permeable, but you can see right now that it is. A lot of times when you're doing a perm, you would want to cut the hair afterwards. On her, we would want to cut her hair afterwards because we're not taking more than an inch. If we were taking more than an inch, we would cut it before. Usually the chemical deposits in the end, so that's why you would try and do a little tiny dusting afterwards so that you can be sure that she doesn't have any deposit on her ends. What happens if the chemical deposits on her ends is the ends begin to split, and then in about a week or so she's going to need a trim. So usually when you're doing a perm, they're encouraging a haircut, so the haircut's free and you would pay for the style. Whereas with the color, the style is free and you pay for the haircut. So there's just a couple of tips. So I just wanted to show you real quick what a nice little wrap for elderly women. Usually they have their ears cut out, so that's why you're only perming the top. And you can see they make special little rollers for when the hair is tiny. Teeny tiny. So what we would do next would be that we would put some cotton around her head to make sure that when we put the solution on, she'd be safe. Then she would process. After she processed, we do a test pro where we open it up 1.5 times to see if we're getting the S pattern. If the S pattern is there, then we would rinse it off. We would take her up and we put more cotton on her as we towel blotted her. After we towel blotted her for 5 minutes, making sure the excessive moisture is out, that's when we would neutralize. You want to make sure that the hair is not dripping during neutralization, as for it would make the curl big because it won't be able to shrink back into its normal pattern because of the water in her hair. So that's why we make sure that we towel blot it so that her hair is dry as possible, so when we put the neutralizer on, it doesn't get diluted. After we take that, we give it 5 minutes. After that, we take the rods out, or we leave the rods in and rinse, manufacturer's directions, whichever you enjoy. And then she will be good to go for her trim, or you put a roller set in her and let her go for the evening down to the fish fry and have a good time. Thank you.